Air warfare has been evolving since the inception of flight. It's gotten faster, more agile, and more precise than ever before. The Air Force has always strived to stay ahead of the curve. And now, with the creation of fifth-generation fighters, the playbook on air warfare is being rewritten.
I flew the F-16 for about 15 years.
I have about 1,000 hours in the F-15E Strike Eagle.
I flew F-16s for about 9 years, and I've been flying the F-35 now for about 3 years.
For 30 years, we had an amazing airplane in the F-16, and it was just time to modify a platform and to be able to take us into the next generation of fighters.
How we have flown fourth generation air combat in the past, it's not that much different than Civil War battles, where we're literally lining up in lines and going, hey, here's the good guy side and here's the bad guy side, and we're gonna kind of fly towards each other and shoot and see who lives, right? And the fifth generation technology just changes the game. It changes warfare.
This airplane is significantly different in that it has the low observable capability, so it can take us into places that we could never go safely with the F-16.
It's just getting used to the fifth generation mindset. So stealth is kind of the king of everything that we do tactically. So a lot of the legacy fourth generation tactics are just not valid anymore.
It's a pretty big jump, actually. I think the F-35 has got a lot more information than the Hornet that I used to fly did. I mean, it presents that to you in a way that makes it easy to use, but still dealing with that volume of information is really quite a change. So the F-35 is, I like to compare it to a sponge. It is just grabbing information all the time. It does that in active ways. It does that in passive ways where it's just kind of listening.
So the way that the F-15 worked and all the other legacy fighters is you have all these different sensors and you all run them individually. So I'm running my radar, I'm running my targeting pod, I'm running all sorts of different sensors. And you're doing it manually. I mean, really, in some cases, you're literally spinning wheels and pulling levers. I mean, kind of, right? In the F-35, the sensors all work seamlessly together. So for instance, in an air-to-air sense, when it sees an enemy aircraft out there, everything just knows where to look without my input.
So sensor fusion combines all these sensors and gives it to me in one readable picture in the aircraft that I can now make a decision based off of.
All of this new technology means the aircraft is chock full of additional components and electronics. The improvements in sensor technology not only help the aircraft detect everything in the battle space, but it also helps maintenance crews quickly diagnose issues inside the aircraft.
The F-35 was really designed for both the pilot and the maintainer. And I kind of feel like that was a big first in the aviation industry. When I first started working on the F-35 and was going through what we call OJT, on the job training. Instructor showing me, hey, this is how we hook up this laptop to the aircraft, and I'm gonna open that door. I was kind of thinking, well, we need our support equipment. I need a hydraulic mule to hook up because hydraulic actuators need to be pressurized. And it was simply pressing a button and doors of the aircraft were opening up. That was a huge wow moment, knowing that's gonna make my job easier. That's 10 less steps that I need to take to do my job.
The main hands-on experience for the maintainer is that he's going to be able to turn wrenches on the aircraft in a much more quick and an efficient manner than they can on a legacy platform. It's the first fighter aircraft without a built-in heads-up display in the cockpit, but where it's actually at is integrated into the pilot's helmet. So there are two projectors inside the helmet that gives the pilot that full capability of a HUD, but it's right at his fingertips.
It's giving the airman something they'd never had before. Giving that pilot the situational awareness to where they can just have information right in front of their eyes no matter what direction they're looking at. It's giving the maintainer information to help them do their job easier and faster. It's really making the Air Force more streamlined, but that is a huge step forward that we've never had before.
Over the past few decades, airmen have engaged in coalition warfare, which has had a learning curve for all nations involved. The F-35 is designed using lessons learned from recent conflicts and with the input of coalition partners.
We are buying 1,763 of these F-35s for the Air Force. It is going to be the backbone of the fighter fleet. If you take that across a broader spectrum, We're buying, the Marines and the Navy are also buying them. And then a lot of our partner nations, 9 partner nations, are buying this. So it is going to be a huge coalition of F-35s, which is really going to increase the capabilities that we have with our coalition partners.
Current and future conflicts are not going to be fought US alone. So we want all our friends there with us, right? So if we can have all our friends operating on the same common denominator with one single jet that we can all kind of talk the same language, we're going to be a more effective coalition going out there.
So it only makes sense that, starting out on a new platform, we train together, we have similar tactics, we understand how other partners work.
This airplane is going to be an amazing airplane because it shares information between each other, and the more airplanes that we get up there sharing information, the stronger it's going to get. And if we have those partner nations on the same network working together with us, it's going to be a very impressive force to deal with.
With the leap in technology developed for Generation 5 aircraft, the Air Force expects to maintain control of the skies well into the future. It's such a big change in the approach to air warfare that planners and pilots have had to completely rethink the way they fight.
I think a lot of people get confused that what we're doing now, warfare-wise, is what we're always going to be doing. And I think what we've seen over the last 20 years or so in the Middle East is basically permissive airspace where you can fly at will through these areas.
Warfare is changing. Warfare is becoming more technologically dependent. So as we continue moving forward in those 15, 20 years down the road, we're going to be facing wars in places that we just can't get to right now. Those are the very high threat dense environments. And I'm not only talking about air to air, but I'm also talking about air to ground.
You can't just look at what's happening now, what we're doing right now in a warfare sense. You have to look to the next conflict. And the next conflict, the F-35, will absolutely be the jet that is best prepared to take on whatever ends up being out there.
You look at just the low observable part of it, to be able to get in low observable, undetected, to drop your weapons, to take out the threat without you ever knowing you were there. I mean, that's a pretty impressive machine, and it's something that 4th generation fighters could have never done. The F-16 would have not survived half the things that the F-35 could go in and do.
We are truly becoming, and we truly are, a first see, first shoot, first kill platform.
What makes the F-35 so capable is the stuff that we can't tell, because we can't tell you how good it is. So we won't ever be able to fully explain what it's going to be able to do in a combat situation.
Our adversaries are catching up. They're just that step behind us, and we needed that large leap forward to get ahead and stay ahead for the next 50 years to come.